Lost Art with Andrew Cox, retired Master Gunnery Sergeant. thelostart.podbean.com. Get some merchandise and help support the podcast and getting our veteran voices out for all to hear. Now on all major podcast platforms. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be a guest, tell your veteran story, discuss your veteran business or organization. Email The Lost Art with Andrew Cox at gmail.com. Andrew Cox, a Till Valhalla Project Ambassador. See the project story at tillvalhallaproject.com. Thanks for tuning in. Please enjoy the podcast that's giving a voice to our veterans. The Lost Art with Andrew Cox.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Podcast, that podcast giving a voice to our veterans. I'm your host, Andrew Cox, and today we'll be having a My Veteran Story. But before we get into the episode, are you enjoying the podcast? Go to thelostart.podbean.com. Go check out our website and see what we got going on. Also, there is a merchandise tab. Go click on that. Go get you some cool gear. Help support us and getting our veteran voices out for all to hear. I also want to give a shout out to the Till Valhalla Project for allowing me to be an ambassador for them. They're an incredible organization. So please go check them out. That's tillvalhallaproject.com. Go check it out. See if there's anything you can do for them and help them in their mission.
Actually, May of 23. In May of 23, I was driving a Humvee on post back from like a brake upgrade or something. And for whatever reason, it still has not been figured out, but there's a fire suppressant behind your head to where if the Humvee catches flames, it'll like spray this powder everywhere to suppress the fire. For whatever reason, there was some kind of technical malfunction and it blew up behind my head and knocked me unconscious. That's how I got my second TBI. My TC said that I stopped the vehicle and he pulled me out, but I don't remember any of that. And I wake up and I just see like clouds of dust. I'm like, holy shit, I just went over an IED. Don't know why I thought that because I'm on Fort Carson, Colorado, but that one was more significant of a TBI. And then after that is when I really started getting into cognitive therapy and cognitive rehab to help with my brain injuries. And that really helped me understand like why I act the way I do sometimes, why this or that happens. And then I also went through normal rehab at that time because I had developed a pretty bad drinking problem. And if you drink so much, it's not going to heal your brain injuries.
Yeah. Very true.
My final year, I wasn't even at work a lot. I was either at rehab or I was at all these appointments, trying to get myself better. And I wanted to do 20 years, which is why I did so much to try to fix myself. But unfortunately, a psychiatrist said, you need to be med boarded and we're going to push you out. That happened in December of last year. And got out, officially retired June 22nd of this year.
Okay. And then now what rank were you when you got out?
Sergeant.
Okay. So medically retired as a sergeant at that point. Okay. So, talk to me a little bit about the working through the TBI. You said you didn't really know what was going on at first. When was it that second blast is the one that you're like, okay, they finally recognized and said you need to get help with that?
Yeah, it was kind of a forced thing because I still didn't know. About 2 months after that, I'm still having these headaches. I still can't sleep. My head is still ringing and feeling like it's about to like explode in a way. So I go to the hospital and they're like, yeah, we're going to put you through this course and do all these MRIs and stuff. And you're going to get help this way. I had severe memory problems. A lot of times I could not think straight. And then like, it just changed my entire personality and the way I thought and the way I handled and conducted myself. I started getting in trouble. I actually got busted down a rank from sergeant to specialist because of drinking, and because of the way I acted. I was making poor choices. What happened was I was going through a school and I flunked out of it because of all my issues, but I ended up getting the rank back and right before I got out. But yeah, at first it was rough, but the more and more I learned about it, the more and more my doctor explained, like, this is why this is happening. This is why you act this way. It all started making sense. And slowly but surely, progress was being made.
Well, that's good. And now, is that difficult? Because I don't know the treatment and everything behind TBI, but is that a difficult treatment as you're going through?
It is. My main thing for me is I felt stupid. Um, like my doctor would ask me what 3 + 3 is, and I had no clue. Like it
No
would get
kidding.
that bad when like when I'm not able to think clearly, it will get that bad where I can't do normal stuff, and I just felt stupid and ashamed. But my doctor managed to pull me out of that and pretty much made me feel like, this is what happens. You're not different, but this cognitive rehab is gonna help you because all,
Mm.
brain injuries heal.
Yeah.
But during that course, I had quit drinking, and um, it was about a year-long course. I was in it until I got out.
Yeah.
Um, and there's a lot of games, like, the light game at the arcade that you hit
Hmm.
when the pop up, there's a lot of that with reaction time and stuff. And then there's this one machine that you would stand on and it kind of rock you. And I got to catch a ball while naming like 10 things that start with the letter T. And with
Oh,
those, like
wow.
happening every day, I slowly and slowly started getting better, started regaining my thought process and um, all that stuff. And I have a lot of videos of me going through this treatment because right before I separated, a news team, Scripps News, they're an Emmy Award winning TV series. They wanted to do a story on
Mhm.
me for TBIs in the military and
Oh,
doing
wow.
it for other people. So um, they got a real cool insight of the treatment process and beginning towards the end of the treatment because they compare notes to see exactly where you improved.
Wow. That's really cool. So you have all the video, or well, not all, but probably a good portion of it, at this point going through the rehab. So you could
Yes.
see the progress, as you're doing it and you're walking yourself through it, right?
Oh yeah. Like I checked out the notes from the first time I went in there. Like my I don't necessarily remember what the category was called, but there's like 10 categories that they
Hmm.
test you on. I scored 20s or 30s out of 100 on all of them for like
Wow.
attention, memory, cognitive, um, thought process, all kind of stuff. And I scored way below average on all of them. And then near the end, they did another test on me, and I'm scoring between 70 to high 90s on like all of them. And
Wow.
I
That's
compared
really good.
notes, and it's incredible how over a year that much progress could be made.
Yeah. Holy cow. Now, after you got retired, are you doing therapy with all that now currently?
Unfortunately, not right now. I've
Okay.
kind of been around with the VA. I've been trying to explain to them, like right before I separated, I had therapy through behavioral health. I had this cognitive rehab. I had alcohol help. And I had a psychiatrist for my medicine. I had all of these. Once I separated, that got cut. So now it's what, August? I'm about to be September. I left in June. And I still haven't been able to see anybody. Um,
Wow.
the only luck that I have is I'm in a substance abuse program, which is on the phone, and they're
Hmm.
working with a psychiatrist. So I mean, slowly I'm starting to get the resources that I need, and they gave me resources for a TBI center in Atlanta, which Wounded Warrior Project wants to send me there as well, just for about 2 weeks. But
Yeah.
it's been a huge struggle going from having all these resources to nothing.
Yeah. Now, is Wounded Warrior Project, have they been helping out quite a bit with all that?
Oh yeah, they definitely
Yeah.
helped me out a lot right before I separated. There's this talk line they
Good.
would call every week to check in on me. They're working to get me into Emory Hospital for my head injuries.
Hmm.
These organizations are great. And then I mean I give a shout out to Semper Fi of America and
Hmm.
Salute to Service, something like that, I believe. But both those organizations helped me when I fell behind on my mortgage upon separating. And I mean,
Yeah.
just all better organizations are so incredible.
Wow. Now, when you officially separated, you went back to Georgia? Is
Yes,
that
sir.
right? Yeah. Okay. And then how was that transition for you? Like, okay, I'm being separated, going back home. What were your like? I guess what was going through your mind at that point as you're coming back home?
I mean, it sucks. I mean, I wake
Yeah.
up every day missing the service because I wanted to do 20 years. I wanted to be a lifer. But at the same time, I realized, with the injuries I sustained and the mental health issues I have, this was the best choice for me.
Yeah.
I ended up moving to Peachtree City, Georgia, because my dad lives up here, and it's a huge golf cart community. There's
Oh, nice.
about 10,000 to 15,000 households that own a golf cart, and there's like 130 miles of golf cart paths going through the entire city. It's absolutely beautiful.
Wow.
And my dad worked at GoTow Rescue, which is a towing company for golf carts. We're the only people that
Oh,
will do
no
that.
kidding.
So
Wow.
he said, "Hey man, I know you're retired. You don't have to work, but if you need something to do, this job is yours." I said, "Yeah, I can't sit at home all day. I'm going to go crazy." So I
Yeah.
started working there, and I ended up buying a golf cart. I learned a lot of mechanic stuff on it, so I upgraded it. It goes like 35 miles an hour now, and I added these wheels. So anytime I just need to get out, I just ride these paths because it goes through the woods. There's a lot of
Yeah.
rivers, and it's just beautiful. So I really
Wow.
enjoy being in. It's called a retirement community, but everybody's nice, everybody's sweet, and it's just
Very
beautiful out
cool.
here. It's better than being in the
Yeah. Yeah.
boonies.
Yeah. Yeah. So, now you have a pretty big social media presence as well. So you do a lot of different videos and things of that nature. How did you get involved with that, and when did you start doing that?
Yes, sir. So it started when I was 15. I started on YouTube. I was making these backyard football videos my entire life. I've just wanted to entertain people. I wanted to be there for people. That never really blew up, but I still enjoyed making videos.
Right.
Well, I believe it was 2020 or 2020. It was 2020. I recorded this dumb video of my buddy. He put like a NOS can in his mouth and he blew into it and it sounded like a motorcycle. And that got like 2 million views, just blew up
Oh my
overnight for no
gosh.
reason. And I was like, wow, I have a presence. I'm going to keep making videos. And so I kept doing it. I went into car content and then military comedy, stuff like that. And then
Yeah.
eventually, right after deployment, I transitioned into mental health awareness. And then I had some videos reach 24, 25 million views. And
Hmm.
um, then my content really directed to mental health and suicide among the ranks and
Right.
alcoholism. And that's my main focus at this point.
Okay. Yeah. And now doing the social media presence and everything, uh, because people will probably recognize you, I imagine, as you're out and about or even on social media, that like I'd say famous, right? You're probably well known. Uh, so what is that like for you?
First time this happened to me, it's an incredible story, but I was going through the gate onto Fort Carson, the MP
Uh-huh.
scan your ID, whatever. And he's like, "Hey man, can you step out of the car?" I'm like, "Okay, what did I do?" So I get out and he's like, "Yeah, man, I recognize you from TikTok. I was wondering if I can take a picture." I'm like, "You need to start with that, not step out
Yeah.
of the car." But
Yeah,
yeah,
that could definitely throw you for a loop, I think.
yeah. Yeah, I've had a few people ask me for pictures. I got stopped in the PX one time because one of my followers has the same name as me, so he thought it was really
Oh,
cool,
okay.
last name. And then, I mean, everybody in the unit, of course, knew I did TikTok, so a lot of
Yeah.
people would ask they pitch me video ideas. They asked me to shout them out, and I mean, it was fun. I could go
Yeah.
somewhere. One time, I went to the Summit, which is like an arcade thing in Colorado
Hmm.
Springs. Our waitress was like, "You're Billy Meeks from TikTok. I recognize you." I was like, "Yeah, that's me." So it's kind of cool to like go around and people you've never met, they know you by name.
Yeah.
Like it's such a surreal feeling in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. That's really cool. Now, I imagine that it's very popular in the military community and probably veteran community as well, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And is that would you say that's kind of the primary target would be
It
the
is.
veteran military? Yeah. Okay.
I really want to outreach these resources to
Yeah.
where if soldiers need help, they know where to look. I made a few videos that went viral about statistics like um, veteran suicide has jumped to 30, 40 a day. And 50,
Mm.
the Army makes up 52% of military suicides and all kind of stuff. So I just want to make people aware and spread awareness of these issues that everybody in the military faces and
Yeah.
try
Yeah,
to
for
build
sure.
off of that. If I can help one person, my mission is complete.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's something that I close every podcast out with is talking about suicide prevention, and I talk about the VA resources that are available. But and you said the statistics. Oh, I can't even talk. The statistics have jumped from 22 to up to 30.
Yes, sir. There's a recent study in 2023 that states um, the VA said in an article that veteran suicide could be up to 44 a day at this point.
No kidding. Wow. So, from your perspective, as you're kind of, making your video content for this, uh, what is it that you see that can help an individual that might be in that frame of mind?
So, what I do on TikTok is I make the short videos with statistics, and then I link a YouTube video that I made that has all the help resources and the signs, signs of alcoholism, signs of depression, what you need to look for. So not only if someone watched it, they realize that they might have these warning signs, but maybe they go into work and they see one of their buddies are having these warning signs. And sometimes
Hmm.
all you have to do is just ask if you're feeling this way. Are you thinking of hurting yourself? And from there, you can
Right.
direct to behavioral health. You can direct them to SUDC, all these amazing programs that the Army and the VA has.
Right. And I've found that a lot of time it's a personal feeling of maybe either shame, embarrassment, something like that, where individuals know, hey, I have an issue, like something's going on, but I'm too proud to go in and get help and stuff like that.
Right.
And that first step is always going to be the hardest step, because you have to get over yourself to be able to do that. What advice would you have for people that are in that position?
I tell them I felt the same exact way. When I first started realizing I need help, I was like, other people need it more than me, or I'm going to look weak if I look for help, or, this is going to ruin my career if I ask for help. You come first before anything. If we don't have the individual soldier, we're not going to have a unit, we're not going to have an organization, we're not going to have a mission whatsoever. The Army relies
Right.
on the servicemen and women. So, I mean, what I did to get over that hump is I just did it. I walked in one day and I asked about these resources, and they saw me immediately, and the provider really helped me through those thoughts of shame or embarrassment, guilt, and stuff like that. Um,
Right.
I mean, that's my advice. Just do it. You need to put yourself first sometimes, and
Yeah.
because if you don't address these mental health issues, nothing's going to get better. It's just going to get worse until eventually, and unfortunately, we have the statistics that we have.
Right. Yeah. And at least from my experience, when you go to medical, they have all the forms you fill out. How much do you drink? How much do this and da da da. Do you go down the list of all the different things, right? Where I believe, and I don't know this for sure, but I can only talk about myself. But sometimes you fudge the numbers, or yeah, I'm doing okay, or so you don't really tell them the full scope of what's going on, right? It's kind of like the scale that they have, right? The 1 to 10, like how are you feeling type of deal, what I'm talking about? And you always
Right.
go, I don't know, like maybe a 4. And they're like, okay, is that a legitimate 4, or is that an 8 that you're just saying is a 4, right? Because we have a tendency to do that to ourselves. So I would say, like, hey, it's important. You got to get in. You got to actually fill those things out the right way. And then hopefully the providers are going to be looking at that, and they're going to be able to push you in the right directions, and get you the help that you need. But we have to be
Mhm.
honest with ourselves when we do those types of things.
Right. And I mean, every single provider and every single doctor are smart. They can see it in your face. They can look at your eyes. You hear a lot when you come back from deployment, your eyes change. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
These providers are trained to see these warning signs that we may not see. I did that at first with the suicidal thought portion. I was never honest with it until I thought I was actually going to take my life. And that's when I started
Yeah.
buckling down and being honest. But, for a lot of people, it only takes 10 seconds of suicidal thought for you to take action, unfortunately.
True.
So not everybody is going to come out of it the way I did. Some people are going to go through with it. And, we got to stop it before it gets to that point. You got to be honest with yourself, and you got to be honest with who you're seeing, because it's not going to ruin your career. That's a huge stigma that we have. for me, they took my weapon away for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I got out of training exercises. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
all it did to my career, but it helped me. And in those 6 months without having my weapon, I was in therapy twice a week to where these thoughts started subsiding and my feelings about myself started subsiding. I got medication. So you got to make that leap before it gets to a point where you may not be able to come out.
Yeah, yeah. And and for everybody, everyone's going to get depressed at some point in time. Everyone's going to get angry at some point in time, and it's just the way the military, the way we do business, I think sometimes makes it available for you, or makes it there, and it makes it bigger than maybe it would be before you join the military, right? Just by the nature of what we do and how we communicate and those types of things. It's that kind of testosterone. Hey, I got to be big and bad, I'm in the military type of thing. So for veterans specifically, I think it's a higher type of incident, or things that you have to deal with. So it's even more important to go, like, be honest with yourself and go get some help.
Right. I mean, being in the military, you go through all these traumatic experiences that most people don't go through. I
Mm-hmm.
got blown up twice, and I was been through the worst situation. I still thought I could be normal after that. You got to
Yeah.
realize it's okay to not be okay, especially when you go through these traumatic experiences and
Yeah.
you just push it aside. A lot of people drink because of them. That's what started my
Mm-hmm.
drink until, I was at threat of having my gallbladder removed, and I started drinking and driving, and I hated that because I was going to hurt somebody else, an innocent person,
Mm-hmm.
because of my
Yeah.
stupid mistakes.
Yeah. Wow. Well, good for you to recognize and start getting help and all that stuff. That's a success story that needs to be shared, and I'm glad that you're sharing it with folks and letting them know that, hey, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and you can overcome whatever it is that you're going through. So you're a perfect example, and a shining example for the military folks out there. And then with your presence on social media too, and that's fantastic to be able to share all those things. Now, do you work with anybody else when you're doing social media stuff, or is it just kind of on your own? Like, you work with any different companies or anything like that?
I've collaborated before, and I have a presence in the military community with, people like Sergeant Knucklehead, Mandatory Fun, Donnell Miles, Sergeant Suave, all these different creators on TikTok, and we all got into a group chat together, and started pitching all these ideas. And um, I have a video where I collaborated with like 20 different Meal Talk creators. I don't
Wow.
work with any companies unless I'm collaborating.
Hmm.
But for the most part, I like to stay away from the companies and just keep it genuine with other military TikTokers.
Yeah, yeah, that's really cool. Now I'm assuming that if you're getting 20, would you say 20,000 views or something like that? I don't know, a lot of views on a regular basis. Now, do you get some money back from like YouTube or anything like that?
I get a bit. Like, I just had a
Okay,
collaboration that was a $1,000 collaboration, but with all the money that I make from my socials, I put it right back into Wounded Warrior Project, or I donate to these
that's
federal
awesome.
organizations just because I don't need the money. I'm retired. I have a job on the side. So I'd
Yeah,
rather give to these organizations who helped me get to this point.
yeah, that's awesome, man. Good for you. Wow. So, looking back over your military experience, right, and your experience after, what type of advice would you have for anybody out there, and that's one, thinking about joining, two, that's currently in the military, and three, any veterans that are out there?
You're going to miss it. For everybody that wants to get out, for everybody that gets pushed out, you're going to miss the military. The military is such a unique experience. You're going to meet the greatest people of your life in the military. You're going to make lifelong friends through boot camp, through AIT, and at your actual units. So, I mean, I'd advise anybody to join. I've had bad experiences. I've been shut down by doctors before, but that doesn't speak for everybody. All
Yeah,
in all, the military is such an incredible experience. I would 100% do it again. I wish I was still serving. But for anybody thinking about going, just do it. You're getting paid to work out. You're getting paid to go start a truck on Motor Pool Monday. You're getting paid to serve and have you're serving for something bigger than yourself, and you're going to have that sense of pride with it. And for people getting out, if you choose to get out, you have to be ready to make that transition. The transition is awful, and I'm still struggling with it. Like I have my diagnosis of major depressive disorder, and it's a everyday battle,
Yeah.
And I didn't have this stuff set up right before I got out since it was so quick.
Right.
So if you're getting out, you have to be ready for that transition. You have to have a plan, and you have to be ready to struggle, because I think for everybody, it's going to be that way. And for all veterans, don't forget what you did. The military should be a part of your personality. You made the decision to go serve. You went through traumatic stuff for your service. You had the greatest time of your life in the service. So just always remember what you did. Check up on your buddies who are still in, or other veterans that you served with. See how they're doing. And if you're ever struggling, there's plenty of resources through the VA and all these organizations that'll help you with any need that you have.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Hey, well, I appreciate you. I thank you for your service and everything that you did and that you're continuing to do. That's awesome stuff, man. I truly, truly, I'm amazed at what you got going on. So thanks for what you're doing.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to close it up here, and I'll close it up the way I always do. And you already hit a lot of it, but for the listeners, if you're struggling and you do need some help, don't forget that the VA does have some great resources. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can always text 838-255, or you can go to veteranscrisisline.net, click on that chat icon. Any of those options are going to be able to put you in contact with somebody that's going to be able to help you out. And just like Billy was saying, if you're out there and you're doing well, make sure that you reach out and to buddies that you served with and check on them and see how they're doing. If they're struggling, give them a helping hand and encourage them to go get help. All right. With that, Billy, thanks again for coming on, man. Much, much appreciated. It was a good experience talking to you. And I'm sure that we'll talk again in the future. To all the listeners out there, stay motivated, change your socks.